What's up everyone, Patrick here, welcome back. Moving on to the next example. So a concert sells student tickets for $7 each and then adult tickets for $10 each. If 110 total people go to the concert and the total revenue was $920, how many more student tickets were sold than adult tickets? So we have a concert here. And then there's both students and adults going to the concert. Okay, or students and their parents. That's another popular type of scenario that can come up. Now, each student ticket costs $7, and then each adult ticket costs $10. And then in total, there's 110 people. So the total number of students and adults, if we add those together, is going to be 110. And then the total revenue is $920. So we're dealing with two kinds of people here. So what we want to do is create two variables. I'm going to let x equal the number of students that go to the concert. And then I'm going to let y equal the number of adults that go to the concert. And what we have to do is create some expressions, some equations for this. So we're told that there's 110 people in total. So that's a pretty easy equation to create. Basically, this is the number of each. So x plus y is equal to 110, like that. Now the next one, it's a little bit trickier to create the equation. We're told the total revenue was $920. And before getting into that specifically, let's say that, do some simple numbers here. Let's say that 5 students go to the concert, and then let's say 7 adults, or let's say, just to not get confused with this 7, let's say 6 adults go to the concert. So in this case, it would be 11 people in total. Well, what would be the total revenue for this concert? Well, we would take the 5, and that's going to be the number of students going, and then each ticket costs $7. So the concert is going to make 5 times 7 revenue from students, and then 6 times 10 revenue from adults. So this would be 35 plus 60, which would give us $95, right? Yeah, $95 in revenue. So that's how we're calculating the total revenue. And so if we generalize this more, okay, these numbers I gave you here, but we're actually solving for those numbers. So what the total revenue would equal, just in general, the total revenue would be the number of students going times the price of the ticket per student, a student ticket price. So it would be 7 times x plus the number of adults going times the price per ticket for an adult. So it would be plus 10y, like that. So we plug in the number of students going, the number of adults, that's going to give us the total revenue. But we're told the total revenue was $920. So this here is just $920, like that. Okay, and now notice we have another equation. So we have one equation, a second one, 2 equations, 2 unknowns. So I'm going to write these equations over here. So we'll have x plus y is equal to 110. And then we'll have 7x plus 10y is equal to 920, like that. And then from here, we just have to solve. So let's solve with substitution, because these x and y's are by itself. So I'm going to isolate for the x. So I'm going to bring the y over. So x is equal to 110 minus y. Okay, and then that I could plug in for this x value right here in the second equation. So 7 times 110 minus y, put that in brackets, be careful. And then everything else stays the same. And now we have an equation in terms of just one variable to solve. So the 7 we have to distribute. 7 times 110 gives us 770. This would be minus 7y plus 10y equals 920. Bring all the numbers to one side, keep all the variables on the other. So 770 I'm going to bring over, so we'll have 920 minus 770. This here, there's a negative in front of the 7, so be careful, that stays there. Okay, there's like a positive in front of this 770. This negative is not attached to this 770, so when this comes over, this positive turns into a negative, but this negative was attached to the 7y, so it stays there on the left side. Okay, that's a common mistake. Students will bring this over, and then they'll take this negative and turn it to a positive. That negative stays because it's part of the 7y there. So then we'll have 920 minus 770, which would give us 150. Negative 7y plus 10y would give us positive 3y. Then we want the y by itself. Divide both sides by 3. Y is equal to 50. So y is 50. That's the number of adults that are going. Right? So then we could find the number of students going. We could plug this 50 into this y or this y. It doesn't matter. We're going to get the same x value here. We already isolated for x, so I'll just plug it in there. And then that's going to be 60. Okay, so there's 60 students going, 50 adults going. And then at this point, you can check your answers. You can take those values and plug them into both equations that you made and see, does the left side indeed equal the right side? So notice that 60 plus 50 is 110. And then over here, we'll have 7 times 60 plus 10 times 50. Is that going to be 920? Let's see. 7 times 60 is 420. 10 times 50 is 500. And notice that it indeed equals 920. All right, so both check out. We could be pretty confident that those are the correct values. However, you got to read the question very carefully. How many more student tickets were sold than adult tickets? They're not asking for each number. They're saying how many more student tickets were sold than adult tickets. So the difference between them, which would equal 60 minus 50, which would be 10. So that ends up being the final answer to this question. A lot of times these questions, they'll ask just for these numbers over here, how many student tickets sold, how many adult tickets sold, it would be 60 and 50. But sometimes they may ask some extra stuff. You may have to take some extra steps. So just read the questions very carefully. In this case, they're asking how many more student tickets were sold than adult tickets. The answer is 10. Sometimes they may even ask stuff about the revenue. Okay, so notice that from the students, how much revenue was made from the students? 420, right? This number over here, 7 times 60, how much revenue from the adults was made? 500. And then adding both of them is 920. So they may ask for these revenue figures. How much revenue was made from adults? How much revenue was made from students? Then you got to take these values you had, go an extra step to get these values over here. Or they may ask how much more revenue was generated through adults than through students. Then you would take the difference between those, which would be $80. Okay, so a bunch of different things they can ask with questions like this. So make sure you're reading the question very carefully.